Hey, lady.
How's it going?
It's going. Can you hear me okay?
I can't.
Good. Hey, let me turn that light off in the background. So, I know most people are accustomed to seeing a bright light shining over my head,
Get
but
a little
I don't,
halo.
I just don't want to be arrogant about it or nothing.
I like the humility. That's a good thing to have.
Thanks for squeezing this in.
Yeah, no problem.
Um,
I had one thing that I was just kind of fun. I'll email this to you.
okay.
But our designer really quick pulled together what a collage, a couple of collages. So
Oh,
I'll
cool.
email these over to you. See if you could pick and choose if there was certain pictures on which ones you liked or if you
Great.
guys had ideas. But
Yeah, great. Let me get my, just a quick thought I had. The one that I like, the one that we already have. I was thinking perhaps an African American couple or family. And I was thinking some sort of minority, either Asian or Hispanic, business owner type of a picture, or, family business kind of a thing. And then also like a single professional or doctor or just single person. So you got, several of those in there. I'll kind of eyeball them.
yeah, I'll send you the link. You can look at them on your own. But I just thought that was fun.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, and I tell you what, I am super encouraged. Here's my expectation for today. Kind of a God thing going on, which is what you want. I took a Journey of Generosity yesterday. Have you heard of those before?
I have never, I've heard it referenced in the report. I know nothing more than that.
Yeah, and I've known about it from Kingdom Advisors for a long time, and terrific story about the company. It's basically, it's funded fully by the McClellan Foundation, and so it's they'll never ask you for money. It's just usually that's a weekend or a retreat, like a evening and a following morning kind of a thing, in person for groups or individuals, and they take you through different stories of generosity. It's just time to focus on the Bible's teaching about generosity. And so I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and mainly I want to offer it for clients and be a facilitator. But you got to take the Journey of Generosity, or they call it a jog. I have to take a jog first. So I did mine yesterday, and it was really, really good. And I'm excited about. My phone's ringing here. Hold on just a second. Let me grab it. Hi, this is Mark. Fine. I'm sorry, Paul. What are you calling about? Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, I want to grab the call because I knew I had some calls out to Springfield. Let me call you back. I just got on a conference call, and sometime between now and noon work. All right. Hey, thanks so much. I'll call you back. Bye-bye. Okay, thank you. Let me write that down. Okay. So all that said, write his name down. Went through that, and it helped me, I think, improve the section about charity. And so I'm going to need to kind of rewrite that, but I'm super excited about it. And to differentiate, just a quick snapshot preview. There's I think there's so much confusion out there. You hear about financial peace, you hear about financial independence, you hear about financial freedom, and the Bible talks about contentment, godliness with contentment. So I've been working on writing, okay, what's the difference between financial freedom, financial independence, and then financial peace? And financial freedom is basically you don't rely on debt. You don't have to live your life on debt. Financial independence means you don't have to work anymore. you've got enough money, you don't have to work for your income. And that's a dangerous place to be, because you're going to be less dependent on God. I mean, it's a risky place. We're called to work. We were created to work.
Mm-hmm.
And then financial peace, really, though, the Bible calls that contentment. And that's where our dependence is on God. Really, our self-worth, our value as a person comes from God and from God alone. And
Mm-hmm.
we realize that we are stewards, that He owns it, and that He is about generosity. He's more concerned about increasing our standard of giving than our standard of living.
Mm-hmm.
Although our standard of living is important to Him, our standard of giving is really what He's about. That's His agenda in our life. And so, Dave Ramsey's financial peace is really more like financial freedom, where you're just not dependent on debt anymore.
Yeah.
And the tough thing with Dave Ramsey, I'm not a Ramsey rant here, but Dave is very much about building wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of his house. He's got a campus. I mean, this thing is a mansion. And so there's a difficulty there. I mean, you could be financially independent, not have to work, and you can be radically generous, or philanthropic sounds better. You can be radically generous, but yet still not be dependent on God. You may not have financial peace at all. And you might be one of the most generous people. I think of Warren Buffett or Bill Gates and the Gates Foundation. They're extremely generous, radically generous. They're giving away their fortune, but they don't depend on God. And financial peace happens the moment you turn the ownership over to God. It has nothing to do with how much money you have. So I wanted to include that part in the charity section. I think it's important to clear that up, get it from the get-go. And so I've got some edits to that. So all that said, what I've been working on as yesterday for this morning, I'm going to have some more edits to do. I know it's a separate project. I don't know how big it'll be. I don't think it'll be that huge. I think most of it's going to be administrative stuff, and then some content changes to both the test itself. Just a few changes probably to the test itself. I don't think the formatting. I think it'll just be plug and play some copy. I don't anticipate it being a major rework of the test itself. It'll just be, again, plug and play copy.
Yep.
And then some edits to what we're talking about today. So what I envisioned for this morning was for you to pull the report up, and we'll kind of walk through some of those. And I've got all my notes on the whole report, so I can walk you through those and give you those notes. Either verbally, and then I could come back to you with then my edits, not only in the copy but also the admin edits, but we can discuss it by looking at the format of the report today. Does that sound like a good way to do it?
Yep. Since you already know what you want to show on the report, or what you want to edit on the reports, there's not a great way for me to look at. I can look at, I'm trying to think. I have your copy that you've given to me that we could go through and edit, or do you want to look at it on the report? How did you do your edits?
Yeah, well, right now what I did is I printed out the, when I went for only one time, I went through and I took the updated test, generated the new report, and I've got a hard copy of that. So it's just based on my random answers. It tended to be a little bit higher score. So what I did with that, and really, so I'm looking at that, and from that I got some of the more what I call administrative edits that we can do. So if you want, I can pull that up and we can share screens that way.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, let me try that.
Or you could send me the link and I could screen share it, whatever you think is easiest.
Yeah, let's see here. Go back. I'm trying to see if I want to save that or not.
I'm pulling up a version of the high test that I took right now. So maybe.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
That's a really high test.
Yeah, I did high, low, medium, and low. So this is not me.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So help me out there first. Well, yeah, look, what I envision when we kind of just walk through this thing together. And so my first comment is really a question where it says level 1 plan well. I can't even tell you what color that is. It's background of that level 1 plan well. Is that? It looks like kind of a pinkish gray to me.
This is gray.
Okay.
I believe so. This first bar, it's so funny. My brother's colorblind, and so we play. I mean, not anymore, but when we were kids, we played just the meanest tricks on him. So try not to make fun of you. But on this graph, it's gray, green, and orange, and then these headers mimic those level 1, level 2. So
okay, and just so here's just a quick question.
Sure.
The color scheme of the website, the tool is tied to that, and I appreciate that. But that said, what do you think of that color scheme? It looks pretty neat. I'm not a big orange fan.
Yeah, I think that would probably be the only one that is kind of. Do you guys have another color in your palette? Besides, I guess it probably originally, whoever made it originally was probably maybe pulling from this.
Yeah, that's where he's coming from. Hold on just a second. Hey, Carl. Oh, great. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Okay. Okay. That's great. Well, I'm not sure what time we'll get over there, but I will get over there. Bye, man. Thanks a lot. See you. Bye. Yeah. Lots going on here. Thanks for your patience there.
No problem.
Yeah. So no, the orange, I'm with you. That's where it came from. And, that's another thing down the road. I can envision where maybe we do a color scheme update over time, but not, we got enough things going on. But that's something that probably down the road might make some sense.
Are you talking about for your whole brand or just for this quiz?
Maybe a little bit of both. I want to get this up and going in the quiz, and we put some miles under it. I think I may change my B-roll and some of my stuff on the website, just the look of it at some point, maybe the end of next year or something. I think it's good. I think people like it. I think it's effective for sure. But what I did, if you scrolled it, like the video that I shot, that I updated last fall, not the B-roll, but the actual company video, what I call the profile video. That one right there, and that was reshot and kind of updated, so I can see where I could do, change that a little bit. But I think it's an attractive site, and then again, we're pretty much going to get some of these transitional calls to actions loaded up there. I mean, the money test, regroup, but then that real estate of this header page towards the bottom, we might be able to add some icons or things like that. So that's actually the thing where it says Raymond James. I know we're going to probably take that out and put TD Ameritrade Institutional in there. But that's, I'll let you know.
Okay. Do you still need the Raymond James login?
For now, that will go away basically the end of the year.
Okay.
But I'm also working on, we've got a Black Diamond portal that we're going to be launching first of the year as well, and I'll need that that thing plugged. So we'll definitely be in touch on that. So, all right, so let's look at this score. That looks good. Go down through the first one. The first sentence there are 3 levels of financial wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
That should be the first sentence of each level.
Okay.
And so if you notice, I think on level 2, that was left out.
Oh.
Well, hold on. Yeah, on my report, that was left out.
Let me see. It pulls differently on. Okay. That's a good catch. It's pulling differently on the PDF than it is on the web version. I will troubleshoot that.
I think the level 3 on the PDF, the level 3 on the PDF pulled, yeah, it's not emboldened.
Mm-hmm.
And also where it says the third, the second sentence, the first 2 words says the third, that should be highlighted or emboldened.
This one should be bold, and then where else? Oh, this should be.
No, just the first 2 words, the third.
Okay. Yep.
And then the spacing looks a little gappy from, like, for example, from the edge of the banner, the finish well.
Mm-hmm.
That's too much space. Whereas if you compare that with this, and also between those 2 paragraphs, there are 3 levels of financial wisdom, and then looks like there's an extra space before where it says the third.
Yep.
And so I would just say that generally on the PDF, there was what I call spacing inconsistency.
Mm-hmm.
And just to scrub that a bit.
Yep.
So if you go back to the first one, level 1, first one. So that one looks like the spacing is, let's just talk spacing. I think the spacing looks pretty good. Except the step 1, then clarity sentence, and then below clarity where it says Jesus taught, that looks pretty gappy.
A little bit closer there. Okay.
Yeah. And then the space between that Jesus taught paragraph and the key verse paragraph, it's uniform above and below, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
But perhaps that's a little gappy. All I know is it just, when it's gappy like that, I think it's harder for the reader.
Yep. I wonder, and I'll talk with our developer, but I wonder if it's like a paragraph break instead of a line break. But yeah.
And those are throughout. Now, I guess keeping, again, this step 1, I'm going to have just a new copy coming your way. But yeah, if you could troubleshoot some of the spacing.
Yep.
And then a comment in that Jesus taught paragraph,
Mm-hmm.
where I have the, what do you call it, postscript, the 1, 2, and 3 of the different references there.
Yep.
I just need to send you the references and put them in the very bottom of the whole document, or I may just embed the references right there.
Okay.
So that's an item. The next thing would be, and what's your opinion on this, for the key verse part? I think I originally wanted to keep the actual numbers of the verses embedded in the passage itself, but I don't like the look of it. I just soon like where it says key verse and take out the numbers, the 17, 18, and 19.
Yeah, I agree. I think that if you just have the scripture reference at the end, that's enough.
Yep. And so I would do that. And then the other thing, so that would be, clean those up in any of the verses that need that taken out.
Yep.
And then the other would be the end of it, where it says the reference itself, 1 Timothy 6. I would I would separate that out. Yeah. Either by, spatially, or what I've done in the past was I put it on either the next, if there's room for it on the same line, but there's like, 2 spaces after the end of the verse, and then I put a dash and then 2 spaces and then the reference. Or I might embolden it. I want to keep the verses in italics. I think that's a good way to separate it. Yep. And even the term key verse, a lot of times I won't have that italicized. I may just have, key verse be regular script, and then the verse itself italicized. And so, to offset the reference part, that 1 Timothy 6 part, and to do that needs to be done on all of them.
Yep.
Throughout the doc. You like that? Yeah. And let's see. So then the part where it says, when we asked, which I love that part. I think that's, so when we asked this, and then it gives, what portion of your time, talent, and then you answered. And then after the 10 plus, I had like either a couple of spaces, and then it says in lowercase script, for a score of 7, period. So you answer 10 plus, and then for a score of X, and then I could send that copy to you for all those responses.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
No, it's definitely possible. I'm just thinking from a report out. What does that mean to me? Like when like a 7 out of 10, like I think that they need to know what it's out of per test. So I don't know, for a 7 out of 10 or something on that, some way to verbalize that I think is more helpful, because a 7, I feel like it's at 7 out of 100. Am I adding all of these for section 1? Like, I don't, like, we're so much closer to it than anybody else taking it. So that's just my feedback on it.
Yeah, that's great. I agree. So I'd say 7 out of 10, or blank out of 10. And I can get that to you in the edits.
Yep. And then I'll want to know per question, like if they say this gets them a 7 out of 10. And if they say this, it gets them a 5 out of 10. And this gets them a 3 out of 10. Like, how does it work?
Yeah, I've got that scoring system, and so I have the answers to that. But and I can get those to you for all those responses. Because they were kind of a range. So am I answering your question on that?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I know that I just have them per button, or if it's not necessarily per button, like I thought there was, like on this one, like for the bottom 2, it's a 2 out of 10. For the top 2, it's a 8 out of 10. Just so that I know per button that they click.
Okay, and I can get that too.
Awesome.
Yeah. Let's see. So yeah, so you go. So where it says you answered 10 plus for a score of 7 out of 10.
Yep.
That's doable.
Definitely.
As long as I give you the button scores.
Yep, definitely. Just a copy edits, very simple. That's easy.
Okay. Now just a piggyback comment. You mentioned, okay, then the section score. There's no way to put that easily in the PDF or the report, other than they see it up above when the first score is generated. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. I wonder if
I mean, like I told you, it'd be great on the report. It says level 1, plan well. Your score, was 80 out of 100.
Mm-hmm.
That would be great.
I know. I've talked to the web developer. I just want this picture on the top of the report. What? And I guess it's not that easy. I guess you can do. He pulled in the number, so I'm wondering if he can pull in these numbers, but it would have to be at the top of the report.
But that's okay. I mean, planning well. Your score, 86% on the plan well part.
Yeah. But that's a good point. I think they need to be changed. I changed them here, but we didn't change them here. So it should say plan well. Can't remember this one was. Or no?
Or I would, if it's possible, I would say planning score, investing score, and I'd say legacy score.
Okay.
So planning score, investing score, legacy score. And so now.
Do you?
Okay. Sorry here. Let me interject something. Okay, so notice we have 5 questions, and then we got a percentage of 100%. So each question is actually out of 20. So I'll have to rework each question has a 20 points.
Right.
Eligible. So I'll have to. So that's what it'd be. Instead of a 7 out of 10, it'd be more like 14 out of 20.
Yep.
Okay. I'll work on that. So yeah, let's see, where were we? So here's what I envision too, that this plan well, step number 1. I'm probably going to change the verse to the key verse will probably be changed just to give you a heads up. It's going to be where it says, I'm saying charity, excel in it. There's a passage in 2 Corinthians 9, which talks about excel in the grace of giving. So I may swap out the verse, but no big deal. It'll be easy for an edit. But the other thing is, I'm going to explain that financial peace, financial independence, financial.
I think it froze on me. Are you still there?
Oh, yeah. Are we good now?
I hope so.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, I would just say, one other comment. If you went to, just think of an example. If you go to step 2, and it says email us at the end of it, very last sentence, says email us at.
Step 2 of level 1?
Yeah.
I don't know. I must have a different.
Huh. I think I'm in. All right. Yeah, I'm still level 1. Oh, your response is different than the my sample test.
Yeah, we must have answered differently.
Okay. Well, basically, the question was, I said email us at info@clearmoneypath. And I think we described going to just which is email us, and that was hyperlinked.
Yes. Yep. Those, I have not made those changes, but I have those documented.
Yep, so that's coming. And then the only other question then I had format wise was, and I think it's pretty easy, but if you go to, go to level 2, step 3, the last sentence of that whole section.
This one?
Yeah, okay. So for example, here's a free sample link from Money Guide Pro. What would be great is just have sample link be hyperlinked as opposed to that link that's listed there.
Yep.
Of course,
okay. My one disclaimer is that it will not hyperlink in the PDF report.
Right. Yeah.
So it will be in this version, it will be linked. And then in this version, it's just going to be listed at the bottom. Is that okay with you?
Yeah. But I think where some of the disconnect was, I was having glitches with my software when I was trying to convert those to link, you know what I mean? Do the insert the link but just rename it as something. And so that's why those links were so long in many of those cases. There's another one where we do actually step 4 in level 2 is a huge one where I did that PDF, that evaluate your fees thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that was
yeah, what is that? The evaluate. Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
I can shorten it for you too, just to say it would be WordPress content evaluating I can cut out these lines.
That would be great. So just trying to make it a little more user friendly. And so that was just structurally the only other thing. So I'm going to come back to you with edited copy that can be plug and played, a reminder about the spacing, a reminder about the verses. And then the last thing I was just going to say, if you pull up level 1 again, and you have 3 minutes to wrap this up.
Yes, I just closed out of it, but let me open it back up.
Okay. Basically, just the just looking at that first page, that level 1 page. Sometimes I'm using italics or bold, or sometimes I use a different color font that would just make it more appealing to the eye. And help offset that. So, I don't know if a different color font would be, we've got the key verses bold, right? Which I think stands out. And I think that's pretty good, but, I want it to be, again, relatively appealing to the eye. Yes, they're willing to read it. Otherwise they wouldn't want to get the full drill down report. But, this is kind of a Word doc format. So I don't know if that are like for example, at the very bottom of step 1, my response was says, "Bravo, thanks for your grateful heart and intentionality." I thought about writing in, when we, so you have the section that says when we asked, and then you answered, and then I thought about, calling that action plan or action step.
Yeah, something to make that a little, like how we have, this kind of header. There could be, we could have a different. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
to differentiate between hey, this is where, pay attention here.
Yeah, just a little bit simpler flow to it. It's good. And so I, for example, so Jesus taught up above there, Jesus taught 3 things about money: first, next, and finally. I think that helped, having that emboldened there. but I don't know, sometimes if you have something in blue, like the Bravo, thanks for your grateful heart and intentionality, even just if the font is a different color, I don't want to make it like um, a candy cane, but just trying to think what's simpler to read and more appealing to the eye, easier to think it through. Even the part, one we asked, and that's basically, your response. So here's step one, here's, your test, and then action plan, something like that.
Yeah, I don't think I like the simplicity of the color scheme, but I definitely think we can do something differently with formatting to make it, more appealing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I'm actually talking to my web developer later this afternoon to see, I don't know what it looks like on the back end, but I just want to mess with it, because, just be able to, I just want to have more control over it, and hopefully I'll find out what our limitations are. Because, we have a designer on the team too, where if some of these copy edits can just be edited, because these aren't coding changes at this point, this is copy changes. So
Yeah.
let's see what our capability is of tweaking the copy as much as we want and messing with the formatting. So
Yeah.
I'll know more this afternoon.
Okay, and because that's a big function of cost, I know, is the coding, and the copy part and the formatting to me is that's something I can do here.
Right. And now I'll find out how easy it is, because if we have access to tweak things, that's awesome. If it's a big copy change, sub it out to us. If it's something, quickly, I want to change this right now, I want you to be able to have access to that too. I don't want us to be hung up on a coding thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great. My timeline on this thing is, I recognize this is a separate project. So, if you guys want to send an invoice for what we had up until now,
Okay.
that's fine. And then this, I think you're getting a feel for what the scope of this looks like. It's not going to be much. It's mainly copy and formatting updates. And then the last thing I would say, per our conversation yesterday, as I understand this, that you're looking into the ability basically to generate, that the coding generates the full report, but also that if I called for a smaller report or a subset report, what do you call it?
Yeah.
That it wouldn't take a whole new coding project. It would just be a tweak to the existing coding project. Am I saying that right?
It wouldn't, the test wouldn't need to be, the logic for the test wouldn't need to be tweaked, but there would be coding to make an output. So it's not like the whole thing, it's maybe 50% of the coding put in.
And then I have to wait. So I need a bid on that, on what they think that would look like. And then, assuming I get all these copy up. So there's a copy project update, which is coming, and that's not much because I'm doing most of that.
Yep. And
then the coding project, I need a bid on that because like we talked yesterday, I think that'll save a lot of time than us having to manually input all that. If it'll spit out that I'll call it that scorecard report through all the algorithm work, then I think we'll be in business.
Yeah. And that's part of the reason I have that meeting with him tomorrow or this afternoon. So I will get more information on how many hours, that's looking from a coding standpoint. And then, and then the copy changes are just by time. So, and and hopefully we'll find out that can be done by me or you. And
that would be great. Well, if you can get back to me before Thanksgiving on that, is that doable?
Yeah, I definitely.
Okay. And then I'll be working on the copy. I really would want to get back to you guys. I would love this thing to go live the way we want it, and the ability to run both the full version and the scorecard version by first of the year if possible, January 10, something like that. So I don't know if that's doable, but that would be wonderful to be able to roll that out early in the first quarter.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think that scorecard should take that much time, but before I commit to a timeline on that, I mean, I know we can definitely publish copy edits and everything on the current version of the report. But Rob really likes to under promise, over deliver. So I don't want to commit to a timeline before talking to the developer on the mini scoreboard or scorecard.
Okay.
But I'll follow up next week on with details.
Okay. So I can be working on the copy in the background. I'll be working on getting that, wrapped up in the over the next week. And if you can give me a bid on the both the updated copy, and then the coding, those two bids, and then we'll go from there. But that should be awesome.
Okay, sweet. I will follow up and as always, just reach out if anything else comes up.
All right, and then you're sending me the picture updates, those different templates.
Yes. Yep. I've got it drafted in an email. I'll send it over right now.
All right, that's great. Hey, thanks a bunch. I really appreciate it.
No problem. I'll talk to you soon.
Have a good day. Take care.
Bye.